How's it going, everyone, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be looking at probably the best way to make money in New World, and that's by flipping items on the trade post. But before we get into that, please consider giving the video a like and subscribing to the channel. It helps out massively. Now, let's get into it. Throughout this series, I've gone over many ways to make money, but today we're going to be looking at possibly the easiest and most effective way to make money. Flipping on the trade post is very easy to do, and you can virtually do it with any item, but be warned. After a while, it can get tedious, which is why I often do other money makers from time to time just to spice things up. What we're going to be going over is how to find items that work for you in your server, what to do with them, how to be effective to maximize profits, and show you some of the items I've flipped over the past week as evidence that this does work. We'll start off by looking at items in your server that can bring you in money when flipped. The possibilities here are endless, but an easy and cheap way to get started with flipping is with refining components. These items are in high demand for crafters, and because they're so easy to acquire, tons of these items are being bought and sold every day on the market. Simply look up either obsidian flux, obsidian sandpaper, aged tannin, pure solvent, or wire weave. Click on buy or sell order, and look to see if sell orders are going for a lot more than the buy orders. If they are, set up a buy order to buy as much as you can afford of this item, and set the post time to 1 day to lower trade tax fees. I do this with every refining component that can fetch me a profit, put in an order for 10,000 of them, and then just wait it out until they are all bought up. It usually only takes a few hours. From there, put them up via sell order and let your profits come in. This is also usually a very fast process with these items. The reason you only want to put them up for 1 day is because people will always try to outbid you, and if you fall far enough down the top bid list, your order will most likely not be filled. On a side note, when it comes to selling, always check in your completed and expired buy orders list for how much you bought the item for, so you know you will make a profit on the investment. Some days the items you bought the day before might have gone down in price and not be as much profit, but you can simply wait another day or two until the prices rise again to sell. These refining components are great because they require so little startup money, and it's a good way to get familiar with this process. Adding these to your daily routine can see you making crazy amounts of gold each week. Over the past 3 days, I haven't had time to play much, only enough time to get on and place buy and sell orders once a day. But from refining components alone, I managed to buy 25,000 components for 2,290 gold via buy order, and sold them for 6,650 via sell order. Taking into account roughly 100 gold worth of trade post taxes, that's a passive profit of 4,260 gold. Not bad for very little work. And you can take things even further, which we'll go over next. But if you're newer to flipping and don't have the largest cash stack to begin with, I highly recommend these easy items to practice with. And incorporating these into your daily routine will do wonders for your cash stack. Once you're comfortable with the concept of flipping, it's really easy to use this with almost any item on the trade post. Simply look up any item and check the buy and sell order prices like you did before, and if there's a good enough profit to be made, go for it. Always take into account the trade post tax fees though, so don't do items that don't produce that much profit. Items I also like to flip with my refining components are cooking materials, and in particular, the ones used for high-end food. Because these items are in high demand by chefs, buying and selling them can bring in tons of profit. Simply look up some of the tier 5 recipes on the market, then see what ingredients are needed for them. And one by one, look up the items and see if you can make a profit with them. You can find some real gems. But again, it doesn't just have to be cooking materials. Anything you know gets used a lot is worth looking at. I tend to write down items that have worked for me in the past frequently on a piece of paper, and then go down the list, looking up the item, seeing how much profit can be made, and if it's worth it, put up an order for 1,000 of them. And then keep doing the same for each item on the list until my cash stack runs out. Then, when I log in the next day, I see what's being bought and place a sell order to make my money back with tons of profit. Sometimes you will even find an item with no current buy orders, and then you stand to make loads of gold because you can set the price and there's no competition. I had this happen recently with charcoal, and because it's an item so often used, I managed to get 10,000 of it for pennies, and the order filled very quickly. From there, I placed a sell order and I managed to 10x my gold in a matter of minutes. There's also tons of gold to be made on gear if you know what items are highly sought after. It's not something I do, but if you know your prices on good PvE or PvP gear, you can flip these items for massive profit, but they are also a lot more risky due to prices and meta constantly changing. An easy kind of gear to flip if you're not the most knowledgeable on prices would be trade skill gear, because they are always in demand, and sometimes people are willing to sell them for very cheap because they're impatient, and you can make a lot of money off of it. But that about covers everything when it comes to getting into flipping on the trade post. Hopefully this can help a few of you out. Let me know below if you've been flipping in New World, and which items work best for you. Also, please consider leaving the video a like, and subscribing to the channel so you'll be notified when the next moneymaker goes live. But until next time, have a good one. Thanks for watching another video. If you'd like to check out another money-making method, click on the video to the left. Or if you'd like to see any other New World related content, click on the video to the right. And don't forget to subscribe.